bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. That's right. Today's Wednesday, March 1st, and we're 60 days into the new year, just 305 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Tonight, we have very special guest with us, Gavin Kelly of Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. Paula Purcell, his partner in crime, will be joining the show too tonight at some point. Tomorrow night is Fader Night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. Would like to get to some phone calls tonight, so if we got the time, we will do that as well. All right. Man, oh man, look at Twitter. Everything is live. Everything is good. Chat rooms are good. Video cameras are up. Show is ready to roll. Are you guys ready? All right. Oh, man, that's cool. The site is backed up. The site is back up. We crashed the site tonight. Wow, see, that's only happened like maybe 4 times in the last 4 years. We've got severe protection on the front of the website, right? But when everybody goes in, you have 20, 30,000 people hit it all at the same time. It's going to say denial of service attack. But okay, we're back up and running. And there you go. Okay. I'm glad I have nothing to do with any of that, man. That's Drew and Rita, behind the scenes panicking. I'm just here in the bunker. I'm just the dude on the mic, right? Okay, follow us on Twitter, at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. We use TweetDeck here. So TweetDeck is live. I've got myself. I have hashtag F2B and hashtag F2BQ live in front of me. It's all good. Any questions, just use hashtag F2B. The sandbox is the sandbox is hashtag F2B. Questions are hashtag F2BQ. Everything is Fade to Black or J Church Radio, Jimmy Church. You know what to do. Go follow, like, and subscribe over at the website. Let's do this. You can email throughout the show, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. I do get to as many of the emails as I can. And, of course, now the membership area has their own secret Jimmy Church email. And they use it. Pretty cool, man. I was saying last night on the show, just it's like a cool way to wake up in the morning. Man, let me go check my email from the membership area. let me go check my email. Don't you want coffee? No, I want to go check my email from the membership area. It's very cool. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best. All right. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We have over 600 archive shows there, custom apps, Apple and Android, all platforms, just $2 a month. You know, you get your commercials, but you also get the show for $2 a month, right? I got email today from someone, again, requesting, which was part of why we did the membership area. The way that Libsyn is set up, you can't download, right? You have apps and you run that route, but you can't download. And there's reasons for that. And for $2 a month, that's it. You get no downloads. That's it, right? So if you desire downloads, and Kelly wrote me this really cool email today from the Libsyn app, saying, you know, I need downloads. I just need downloads on my iPad. And, you know, there's reasons for it. And I told her, I said, well, look, you know, for that, we don't. Just go to the membership area. Downloads are there. Got an email from her like 10 minutes later after I said that. Thank you. I just became a member. You know, and downloads to her were important. So I get that. And that's what I said to her in the email. We are trying to make everybody happy, right? That's it. We're just trying to make everybody happy. So if whatever your flavor or taste and how you want to get this show, you can do it. It's that simple, okay? You want it live, you got it live. You want it free, you got it free. You want a podcast, you got a podcast. You want downloads, you got downloads. You want an exclusive membership area with a bunker cam and an autograph hat? We got that for you, too. Okay, please visit all of our sponsors. Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, Studio Dome, and all of the other advertisers that advertise with us. Click on their banners over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Use the promo codes for discounts, free shipping, because you're a fade or not. Everything is there, everything that you need. That's how we get this show out there. All right. Contact in the Desert's coming up May 19th through the 22nd. Joshua Tree, California. Tickets and info are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. We are giving away passes. Okay. We're going to start making those announcements of the winners here very soon. There's one entry per person. Just click on the banner over on the website. It's very simple. The pass is non-transferable, everybody. If you win a pass and you cannot attend, let us know. We'll draw another name. All right? Just be cool. If you can't go, win. Enjoy the moment that you won. All right? That's cool. You won something. And then do the right thing. Give it up. All right? If you can't go, give it up so another fader not can go. If you give it up, I'll give you a shout out on the air. Okay? I'll do it. Really appreciate it. All right. Good luck to all of you. You guys are the best. Fadernauts are the best. Let's get the show cracking. Today, happy birthday to Javier Bardem. One of the great actors, received an Academy Award for No Country for Old Men. Scared the crap out of me. And the thing is about Javier, great actor. Goya's Ghost. Did you guys see Goya's Ghost? Trippy movie. He was excellent, right? Now, but he's a pretty freaky guy, pretty scary actor. And I'm sure he's cool. You know, he used to play soccer, too, as well. Professional soccer player. But Javier Bardem, 48 years old today. Also today, Steve Murillo. Steve Murillo, our very own, is 29. And I bet you didn't know that. Roger Daltrey of The Who is 73. Now, I'm going to light up Twitter right now. Let's do this. Mike just said, loving how you have Twitter set up underneath the bunker cam. Membership has its privileges. Are you guys digging that? I saw it last night during the break. I didn't even know that Drew and Rita did that, but that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yes, look at that picture of Javier. Javier Bardem, man. It's a scary dude. Great actor, right? The best. But he plays the villain, correct? He was good in, was it Spectre? Right? The James Bond flick. He was pretty good in that, too, as well. All right, Roger Daltrey today is 73. And I want to light up Twitter right now. Greatest Who song of all time. Now, you come here for Ghost. You come here for UFOs. You come here for conspiracy, the New World Order. That's why you come here. But you also come here for the music. So I want to know right now, what is the greatest Who song ever? Right? Baba O'Reilly? Could it be? anything off of Who's Next, pretty much, right? But what about some of that new stuff? Remember Eminence Front? Pretty good song, right? What's the greatest Who song of all time? Let's see. All right. Lighting up. 515. Mike, I don't know what that means, but it's a good number, I guess. All right. Our dead guy's birthday today is, well, the one and only, happened last month, 2 months ago. Alan Thicke. Alan Thicke, Canadian actor who played Jason Seaver on Growing Pains. I actually liked that show. Back in my long-haired Sunset Strip days, I did watch my Growing Pains. Alan Thicke died at the age of 69 right here in downtown Burbank, California, over at St. Joe's. Thicke trivia. In addition to being an actor, dude was a composer and did a lot of TV shows, and I bet you didn't know that. On this day in history, 1966, it happened. The Soviets crash a probe into Venus. It's called the Venera 3. A Soviet probe launched from Kazakhstan on November 15, 1965, collides with Venus. And although the Venera 3 failed in its mission to measure the Venusian atmosphere, it was the first unmanned spacecraft to reach the surface of another planet. 4 years earlier, the United States probe Mariner 2 was the first spacecraft to pass close enough to Venus to take measurements of the planet, discovering that the surface temperature was 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you know what they say now about Venus? That if we were on balloon, if we had floating cities, balloons, right? Blimps, and we were off the surface up a mile or two, we could live there. We could breathe the air. That's what I've heard. I'm just saying. In 1967, the Venera 4 succeeded where the 3 had failed, successfully ejecting several scientific instruments, including a thermometer, a barometer, a density gauge, and gas analyzers into the atmosphere. Then in 1970, Venera 7 became the first spacecraft created by humans to soft land on Venus. 800 degrees, it soon melted afterwards. I'm joking. Fader fact, only one home in the United States receives more visitors per year than Elvis's home, Graceland. What home? You guessed it, the White House. Elvis was 22 years old when he paid $100,000 for Graceland. And I will say this, when you first, as an Elvis fan, you've got to go to Graceland. It's one of life's journeys, right? You do that. I've been there a few times. And you get to Graceland and you go through the gates and you kind of look and you're like, man, it's not that big. It looked bigger in the pictures. It's a nice house, though, Graceland. All right, tonight we have a very special guest, Gavin Kelly, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. Tomorrow night, Fader Night with John Rappaport. Oh, I think Paula, Purcell, his partner, is going to join us at some point tonight, too, as well. Of course, the call-in number is 323-825-5045. Now, what is the greatest brand in the world? Corporate symbolism. What's the big brands, right? Well, you've got your Coca-Cola. You've got McDonald's, right? That's probably the two big ones, I would think. Coca-Cola, McDonald's. I mean, what's another big one? Oh, how about Ferrari, right? Now, Italy, oddly enough, you would think, right? But Ferrari is one of the big brand names in the world. Great name, great logo, great reputation, and all Italians are proud of Ferrari. Well, check this out. Last August, a Ferrari salesman, his name is Robert Bud Root, filed a lawsuit against a former client, Stephen McMillan. Right? Now, Stephen McMillan, he's a client, right? So he owns a Ferrari. And this was after Root claimed that McMillan made comments which caused him to lose his job at Ferrari of Palm Beach, Florida, one of the biggest Ferrari dealers in the country, if not the world. Root has since returned to his old position, but not before alleging that McMillan had requested Ferrari to roll back the mileage showing on his Ferrari's odometer and rolling that number back to 0. Now, where am I going with this? Oh, there's a lot to this story. You roll back a Ferrari's odometer to 0, and especially like the one that Steve McMillan had, a LaFerrari. It's going to increase the value of your car by, in Steve's case, $1 million. And you're also committing fraud. Furthermore, Root's suit alleges that this is a common practice among Ferrari's more well-respected and well-connected clients and their new digital odometer-equipped cars. Now, who owns a Ferrari? You cannot, I'm just letting you know, you run into some money and you want to get a Ferrari. You don't, this isn't buying a Honda. You cannot go into a Ferrari dealership and test drive a new Ferrari and go, I'll take the yellow one, I'll take the red one, I'll take the silver one. It's not like that. You got to wait. Your name goes on a waiting list, you order the car, and it comes in a year or two. All right, that's the way it works. There are no new Ferraris at a Ferrari dealership. That's why part of the reasons why they're so valuable. Second, with a Ferrari, you're only driving it so many miles per year. Okay? You're not going to drive it to get the groceries. You're not going to rack up 16,000, 20,000 miles on a Ferrari in a year. Well, some do. That's rare. But you're going to put 500 miles on the car a year. So if you have, or 1,000 miles, and if you have a Ferrari that's got 2,000 miles on it, it's basically brand new, and you roll back that odometer to 0, or nobody's really going to know the difference, right? And it holds its value. Think about that. Well, that's what this is saying here. The suit further alleged, but this wait till you hear where this story goes. It's unbelievable. The suit further alleges that in or about the summer of 2015, Root learned from another Ferrari Palm Beach employee that the manufacturer of Ferrari cars, Ferrari themselves, has a device which enables a Ferrari factory-trained mechanic to reset the odometer on certain Ferraris to 0. The existence of the device is almost completely unknown among the worldwide community of Ferrari supercar owners. The twofold reason for this is clear. A secret reset of an odometer, even a few hundred miles, can enhance the value of a Ferrari by a 7-figure amount. Now, were it to become common knowledge that a device exists that can alter Ferrari odometers without detection, think about it. The resale market would be thrown into turmoil. The huge Ferrari resale market is so lucrative, and so it causes people to lie and to cheat. These rich people are lying and cheating themselves. They're lying to each other. It's ugly and it's nasty. But this is where it gets nuts. Who is Steve McMillan? Why would I be bringing this up? Why am I talking about Steve McMillan? Well, Steve McMillan is a retired chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Sara Lee Corporation, $20 billion. He is also a member today of Monsanto's board of directors. Yeah, man. You think that's enough? Oh, it's not. I got more. Oh, this guy's a piece. He is a member of the Chicago Council on Foreign Relations. That's right. He's also a member of the Economic Club of Chicago, He's a member of Catalyst. He's a member of the Business Council. He's a member of the Business Roundtable. He's a member of the Executives Club of Chicago and the Civic Committee of Commercial Club of Chicago. He sits on the advisory boards of Sarah W. Stedman Nutrition and Metabolism Center of Duke University's School of Medicine. And he's also the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. That's right. That's Stephen McMillan. And you know what? He also rolls back the odometer on his Ferrari. What a dick. And so there you go. Those 1%ers out there, the fraction of 1% that are rolling around in a LaFerrari, that are, that have nothing better to do, that walk through a Ferrari dealership, talk a bunch of smack so a guy loses his job, and McMillan is there to roll back and do cash payouts and roll back his odometer? What kind of person is this? Well, I'm calling him out right now. Steve, sue me, pal. Unbelievable. Board of directors of Monsanto rolling back the odometer on his Ferrari so he can resell it to some other schmo. Unbelievable. All right. That's it. I'm done on my soapbox, and I cannot wait to get the emails. And McMillan, it's Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. All right. Let's talk about something fun. Egyptians don't know how old they are. They really don't. Rita and I talk about this every single night. And right now, she's listening to me going, okay, here we go. I got to hear this one more time. But listen to me. This is why I love doing this show. This is why I love all of you. Egyptians don't know how old they are. The 76 listed pharaohs on the walls of Abydos were done in 300 BC. 300. I like that, Mark Tarana, in Twitter. Yeah, I said it. I meant it, too, by the way. The 76 listed pharaohs on the walls of Abydos were done in 300 BC. And the list of the pharaohs goes back to Mene, right, for Dynasty 1, which sets the clock and the timetable on Egyptian history at 3100 BC or thereabouts, right, 3000 BC. It's guesswork, but it's not an accurate way of dating anything, but that's the way that they've done it. And it's all an approximation, and they've pulled these into different dynasties, Dynasty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and come up with this timetable, and they smack it back, 3000 BC. Now, it's not really logical, but it was a way that, to get data into books, and so we could teach about Egyptian history. Somebody said, okay, here's the list of pharaohs, 76. Okay, so if we go, 40 years per guy, that's 2,800 years. Okay, that kind of works. Let's base it on that. That's how it was done. Make no mistake about it. There is no calendar. So if you think about it like that right now, we are sitting in 2017. Right? So at 300 BC, when this priest compiled the list of the oral history that they had, right, going back, if you think about it, at 300 BC, that guy is closer to us in the dating at 2017 than the Egyptian history going back 3,000 years. Think about that. It's closer to us in our timeline today than at 300 BC going back to the beginning. And if you assume that the 300 BC dating of the Pharaoh's list is correct, which we don't know, even that is estimated. So if you assume all of this, what did the Egyptians really know? Well, nothing. They knew nothing. Think about it. 300 BC wasn't even the new kingdom, right? There's 3 kingdoms. old, middle, new, right? Spanning all of that time. And the new kingdom, which we call it new because it's the new kingdom, was from 1150 to 1070 BC. That's how long ago we're talking. We don't know these things. And by 300 BC, that was Greek, man. That's Ptolemy. Think about that. That was Greek. That wasn't even Egyptian at that point. That was Greek. I don't know what to make of all of this. I know what to make of it. What I mean is, I don't know what to make of what Egyptologists are trying to feed us every single day. It's just not right. It doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. And the reason why I bring this up now is now that we know that Khufu was taken off of the Great Pyramid, it's done. It's just not there. And if we start to look at the king's list, the pharaoh's list of 76 pharaohs, and that's what we know for sure. Now that now they suspect there is an official dynasty 0. So now that backs everything up from 2900 BC to 3100 BC. Actually, those 76 pharaohs could be stretched out thousands of years older. Don't know. But that also pushes back, logically speaking, now, today, with the way that I think, the dating and how the pyramids were built. If we go with the Egyptians built them, think about that for a second. So when I talk about this knowledge that I have and this research that Rita and I do every single day, and we do indeed talk about it every single day, the more that I look at it, the more that I study this, and the more people that I interview, it has become very, very clear to me that Egypt, and especially when you think about the climate change that took place there at 8000 BC, is starting to make sense. In that, scientifically, we can go and measure when rain and where the climate was at 8000 BC, 9000 BC, 7000 BC, and it was certainly a much more beautiful place. So quite possibly, things were completely built out and living and fun for all of those thousands of years before 3000 BC. It's a big concern of mine, and as we continue down this journey together, I'm going to continue this pursuit of pushing back the date, and not only pushing back the date, but trying to figure out the timeline of those 76 pharaohs, and then what happened in Egypt before then for those other 4,000 years. This is Fade to Black. It's a big deal to me. It's one of those things that I just can't seem to let it go. It's killing me. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Gavin Kelly, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. His partner, Paula Purcell, is going to be here. This is Fade to Black. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Follow me on Twitter @jchurchradio. You guys having fun? You having fun? I hope you're having fun. I am. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back with Gavin Kelly. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletzky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fader-Knots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Yeah, that's my alien hacky sack. It's my little alien hacky sack. This portion of the show is brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. It's dark, complex, and smoky. Just go to the River Moon banner right now at JimmyChurchRadio.com. It's right there on the site. Click on it. Use the promo code F2BBLEND. You're going to get 15% off of your order. Just got, by the way, a new shipment of a slightly darker. I was with Juanita and Jeff of River Moon Coffee here in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about the blend, right? I said, no, it's perfect. But could we get it just a little darker, a little smokier, right? And Jeff said, man, but they did, and I got it today. It's absolutely amazing. You'll love it. It is truly the best coffee in the world. All right, Gavin Kelly. He's a country singer turned paranormal investigator. He leads Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. It's a 3-year-old group in an effort to document the unknown. Along with his teammate, Paula Purcell, the Paducah, Kentucky-based duo has investigated across the United States, including the St. Albans Sanatorium in Radford, Virginia, Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois, the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and the team also investigates reportedly haunted hospitals, mills, and schools. He is the host and lead investigator for Amazon's new original series, The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown, and it's debuting this October 31st. It's Halloween, right? 2017. I would like to welcome the first time to Fade to Black, Gavin Kelly. Gavin, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
You're the best, Gavin. Now, before we get started here, you get the Fade to Black first-time guest disclaimer. Right? Now, you're going to be on the show again many times, and you're not going to get the disclaimer then, but you get it tonight. You ready?
Okay, go for it.
The disclaimer is, it's just you and I, well, and later Paula, sitting on my couch talking as friends. We're going to start where we start. We're going to end where we end, but we're going to end as friends. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Let's. I want to start here. You know, I come from the music business. You and I met at a music industry function, oddly enough, right?
Right.
So you come from the music business, and so do I, and we're both in this paranormal thing together here. What made you make the change and get out of? Was it? Did you lose your voice? You couldn't sing anymore, or you just had to? You just had to go and ghost hunt.
No, I'm still actually in the music. I just haven't had time to try to do another album. I've been planning on doing another album. I mean, I did release one back in 2011. It was July 2nd, and it was my debut album called Gavin Kelly's Honolulu Blue, and it did pretty well. But ever since I started this group, I've been, going to a lot of locations and basically trying to document proof of the afterlife, and it just consumed me, if you were.
Yeah, well, I totally get that. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What is more fun, ghost hunting or singing on stage?
I would say ghost hunting is right now.
Yeah, it's a good answer. That's a good answer. For me, Gavin, when I was in the music industry, and I play guitar and I produced bands and had a great career, and I've still got great friends, and it was an awesome time of my life. But the thing that I kept secret, that I didn't talk to my friends about, we would talk about sports or we would talk about whatever, but I never talked to them about UFOs or ghosts or the paranormal or conspiracy theory. It was something that I kept private, right? And it was killing me. I wanted to get out there and talk about it. I wanted to go and do what I'm doing today. And the freedom that I have now, I've said this before, it's like coming out of the closet, right? Now I can't shut up about it. I miss the music industry, great friends and everything, but it was a frustration that I had. I led a dual life, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I would have friends come over to the house, and I knew that I had a couple of cabinets that were stuffed full of UFO and conspiracy videos and magazines and books. And, if anybody was poking around my house, it was like, I was keeping them away from something that they couldn't see, right? No, don't open that, exactly. Right? Oh, what's in there? Exactly. Don't worry about that, man. But now, look at me. I talk about it every single day, and I'm sure that you had the same thing going on with you, right? You had a fascination with the paranormal. Did you talk to your friends and family about it? Did you keep it to yourself, or do you feel freedom today?
I kind of kept it to myself with my parents due to the fact that my mom is highly religious, and I didn't want to butt heads trying to justify the reason why I'm doing it. And there were some friends that I went ahead and kept it quiet from because I didn't want to be deemed crazy.
Well, that's exactly my point. Yeah. So did you feel a frustration with that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And how is your family dealing with this today? Because now you're fully out of the closet, right? You've got a TV show. How are they now?
When we were at NAMM in January in Anaheim, California, my parents live out there, so they met us at the hotel, and Paula and I basically explained what we do, why we do it, and my mom kind of now accepts it.
Wait, whoa. This past January, that's when I was hanging out with you. So You're saying that you've had Phantasmic Ghost Hunters together for 3 years. You get a TV deal. You're on TV all over the Mid-South, right? You're doing news programs and radio, and your parents didn't know anything about it?
No, I kept it from her. I didn't want her to know.
Yeah. Okay, well, what's Thanksgiving dinner going to be like this year? I mean, is your mom going to sit down and, so, Mr. Ghost Hunter, is it going to be like that?
No, she actually does, like I said, she kind of accepts it, but she will hit me left and right with Bible verses.
Right. Well, now she's going to hit you with ghost stories. You know, she's going to tell you that your grandmother's house was haunted and that they always had a ghost. You watch. Things like that are going to start to happen in your life. It's going to be like, you know, I thought I had a secret life, but then you're going to find out that, you know, your grandparents' house was haunted. Your house was haunted when you were growing up and they didn't talk to you about it. It'll be like that. I think your mom will start to open up.
Maybe, but I doubt it. She never really experienced anything like that growing up, or even when we lived in California.
Where did you live out here?
Pasadena.
Oh, so did I. What part of Pasadena?
Arboleda Street, 3859. I guess it was, I wouldn't want to say south, but it was right next to Arcadia.
Yeah. South Pass. Yeah, absolutely. I was in North Pasadena. I was up off of Lake Avenue, next to the mountains, all the way up at the top of the hill there. But yep, love Pasadena. It's a great town, old town, haunted town too. By the way, that's Pasadena's a pretty freaky place.
I started finding out about that.
Yeah, no, it is. It truly is. It's one of the older cities here in Southern California. It was established in 1888, but it has a long history before that with the American Indians and the Indian culture here too as well. We'll talk about that in a bit. So the transition, did you decide to start ghost hunting because of all of these programs that were on TV, or were you starting to ghost hunt on your own?
Basically, I started flipping through channels about 3 years ago, and I stopped at Ghost Adventures. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So, I started watching it, and I didn't think anything of it. I really enjoyed it. Well, I found out that Paula's house, after they had a house fire, it kind of uprooted things. They started having weird activity in the house. They would place something down, like in one place, it shows up somewhere else in the house. They've got like an old lady's perfume that lingered from the kitchen all the way down the hallway. And there was one particular evening where they had a bouncing ball go down the hallway, and the girls kind of opened up the door, looked on out, trying to see where this ball is. At that time, her brother-in-law was sleeping on the couch. He kind of peered on over, wondering where this ball is coming from. But there was no ball at all. The dog started getting scared, and when her brother-in-law would go ahead and turn on a Western on TV,
right,
he'd go get a beer and come back, and NASCAR's on.
So the TV, exactly. So do you? Wow, that's interesting. Do you think it was caused? All this activity was after the fire, right?
After the fire, yeah.
And now that you've been doing this for a while, how do you think that those two were connected? I find that very interesting.
Well, from my understanding is whenever there is like an activity like that or a disruption of a location, it's similar to basically doing renovation to a building. You're basically disrupting the area where those people used to live, or where the spirits are now lingering. So you're basically, how do I put this? Besides disrupting, you're invading their privacy, so to speak, and now they're going to come out and want to be known.
The reason why I asked that, because you mentioned perfume. You know, you had the poltergeist activity, the channels of the TV changing, the ball, bouncing through the house. But if to smell something like perfume after a fire, that means that there was a timeline there, that definitely there was a before and after period with that fire and the ghost activity in the home.
Right. Well, what it's kind of like, they're used to their specific atmosphere during their time, and that house fire basically unsettled their atmosphere.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, what do you make of, because you saw Ghost Adventures, and I'm a big fan of the show. I don't hide that fact. I watch the marathons when they're on, right? I can't get enough of Zach Bagans. So, and I get that, but why do you think there is all of these ghost hunting shows on television today? Is it because there's a lot of ghost activity, or is it because there's an audience demand for that and they will continue to create new shows? Certainly you're part of the mix because you now have a series too as well. So, yeah, I'm speaking directly to you in the same question. Is it because the audience demands it? Is it because there's a lot of ghost activity out there and they need this? Why all of the paranormal programming?
I would have to say both. There's a lot of activity that's out there that needs to be uncovered, and of course the public demands these type of shows so they can actually see the evidence that the paranormal investigators actually dig up at some of these locations.
Now, with these different shows out there, as you have been watching them and you started your production, did you learn a lesson from that? Is there a way that you are going to handle your show as opposed to, with Paranormal Journey versus, Taps or Ghost Adventures or some of the other shows that are out there?
Well, what we're actually trying to do is we want to stand out from all the others. We don't want to have a show that actually mimics what is out there. We want to be completely different. How we do our approach, our process. We want to have the show with a storyline. We want to dwell on the history of the location. I mean, of course, you and I both know this, that when you go to a location, you're not going to get activity. I mean, there's not a ghost that's just going to sit there and click on a time clock. I'm working today. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if that happens to us, we'll actually dwell on the history, go into more detail of the location. So we give the viewer the idea, hey, I want to check that place out. Maybe since they didn't get something, maybe we can get something.
Do you think that because of you being a professional ghost hunter now, both you and Paula at Phantasmic, that some of the things that you see on TV may be manipulated? It may not be what they say that it is. And I'm trying to tread lightly here. I don't want to make any accusations.
Right.
But some shows have pretty fantastic stuff happening throughout the entire program. And I know that places just aren't that haunted like that all the time, that you're going to have downtime like you're talking about. So when you see these shows like this, do you raise an eyebrow and go, that's just not right?
I used to raise an eyebrow on it, but I've also found out from a couple of folks that actually work on those TV shows, they are there at the location for almost a week. So what they do is they don't get nothing on the first night, well, then they'll try on the second night, the third night, fourth night, fifth night, all the way till their time is up. And if they don't get anything, well, they don't actually do anything on that location. They go to the next one.
So what you're suggesting is then it takes a week, but everything that you see on these shows is you feel that it's legit?
I'm always questioning some of the EVPs due to the fact that I have noticed on some shows, if you listen carefully, that EVP that just came through that recorder was actually heard on maybe 4 episodes prior.
Say, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Say that again.
There's one show in particular. I don't want to.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to.
There was an EVP that came out on the recorder, and the voice and exactly what it said was actually heard 4 episodes prior, in the exact same tone, same voice, same verbiage.
So, does the audience care? Did you go and follow up with that to see if the audience was responding to that? Was there anything, posted in forums or Twitter? Were they called out on that? Or does the audience even care? Is it just entertainment?
It was just probably entertainment for them. I didn't see anything on that. So they're just really into it just for the entertainment. They just want to watch it and enjoy it. So, I mean, for us, we want to go ahead and actually have evidence, and we don't want to sit there and try to mislead our viewers of during the show.
Right.
I mean, there's some of these shows where there is misleading. I mean, if you watch particular shows where they say they're using the thermal and they're saying they're getting a heat signature on a spirit, that I don't really understand when a spirit has no heat. So it would be cold. Why would it have a heat signature?
Well, okay. Now, I'm glad that we are talking about this because I've seen, and everybody can go to Gavin's website and just click on it over at jimmychurchradio.com. Just go and look at some of the pictures of his gear. Okay, Gavin, you have amassed, you and Paula, one of the craziest amounts of gear, right? And it's laid out. I have no idea what I'm even looking at, and I know gear. I'm a gearhead. I'm a tech guy. Mm-hmm. You have one of the craziest amounts of stuff out there. So why don't you kind of in your imagination here go from the left side of your display table to the right side and go through what are we looking at? What is it exactly that you use on a typical investigation?
Well, we would definitely go ahead and use our Tascam digital recorders because we're actually taking Tascam a whole different direction. Mm-hmm. You and I both know Tascam is used for like music and wedding things and like that. We're actually taking a whole different direction to use their products to record the voices of the dead. And I certainly do like to thank Eric Larson for giving us the opportunity to work with Tascam on that. And yes, he is listening right now.
Eric.
He does say hi.
Okay, let's get the Eric plug in. See, right now, Eric's going to go, to Tascam tomorrow and play this show to everybody. Church and Kelly said my name. We love Eric, and Eric knows his stuff. And one of the things, this isn't a Tascam plug. This is for real. That the companies that are out there that manufacture gear that could potentially not only help the paranormal and the ghost hunting world, there's that, but also the podcast world, the radio world, the broadcast world, and the things that I do here too as well, and combined with the paranormal, Tascam recognizes that. And they want to push, they want to help the podcasters out there. They want to help the radio broadcasters. They want to help the ghost hunters. And when Tascam called me and wanted to talk about the paranormal, I was like, really? You guys are going down this road. And they wanted to know the best ways. And that's what Tascam is about. So everybody out there, all of you ghost hunters, and want to be radio broadcast podcast people, and you want to get into what Gavin and I do, just go to the Tascam website, read about the equipment that I use or Gavin uses, and it's all right there. Okay, so now back to what specifically are you using from Tascam besides the DR100?
The DR100, we also have the DR100 Mark III. We got the 701D, which I really like. The fact is that you go ahead and plug in 4 XLRs and you put it into like a cross section of a building, in the center section, and you run one mic off to the left, one to the right, and then one behind you and on the other side. And excuse me. And then you monitor it. Basically, if you see the indicator start spiking, well, then point the camera in that general direction and start firing off pictures. That was what we used to do, but now I put a 360 camera on there where it automatically captures everything, so I can just go back and look at it later.
Right. And that's another thing. The application of, the DR100 Mark III wasn't designed for ghost hunting, right? Right. It was designed for music applications, as it should be, but it's the perfect ghost hunting tool. Two backup batteries. You got a backup file. You have compressors. You have XLR ends. You have 2 excellent condenser mics that are built into it. So having all of that accessible at night in the dark and having a backup file and not knowing if you've got enough battery to get you through the night, these were designs that were done for a professional product. It just happens to work for ghost hunting. It's the perfect recorder. Okay, so what else do you use? Like I said, going left or right on the table.
Okay. Let's see. From that, we use the Paranalogies Periscope 360 and the regular Periscope. And basically what that does is it's for static. It actually detects static energies. So if anything walks around it or near it, it will light up in that general direction. So if an entity is actually walking from like 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it will light up one at a time until it reaches 3 o'clock, let you know there is something over there. Same thing with the regular Periscope. It'll go from left to right. It'll go from like red, yellow, all the way to green.
Right.
We've had some really cool stuff happen this past weekend over at St. Sanatorium.
And I want to talk about that in just a second, too, as well. Okay, so I see the DR, and, okay, so what are there's 1, 2, 3 white boxes that you have displayed here. What are those?
The white boxes, those are the millimeters.
Okay.
We got a regular millimeter with the temperature on it, as well as EMF, which is electronic magnetic frequency, and of course the black one is a millimeter with the REM feature. So basically,
who makes
the same way as static?
Right. Who makes these? Oh, did I lose you, Gavin? Okay, we lost Gavin. Okay, we're at a break anyway, so. Gavin, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, but there's something coming through, and I don't know what it is.
It's not coming through from me. What is it that you hear?
I'm hearing somebody order something.
Okay, hold on for a second. That's bizarre. Let me see. Oh, that's you. Okay, did it just stop?
Yeah, it did. What was it?
That was your website.
Oh, the website was playing on your side.
Yeah, see. Okay, now, really quick, we got to hit a break right here. And I was looking at, the pictures of all of your gear. That's what that was. So let's take a break. This is Fade to Black. My guest tonight, Gavin Kelly. In a few minutes at the bottom of the hour, we will have his partner in here, Paula Purcell. Phantasmic Ghost Hunters, his new show on Amazon, the new original series, is called The Paranormal Journey Into the Unknown. Debuts October 31st. That's Halloween night, too. Pretty cool. 2017. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Gavin right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free, and we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code TALK.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Gavin Kelly, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. He and his partner, Paula Purcell, have a new show coming out. Amazon's new original series, The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It's debuting Halloween. Is that actually Halloween night this year?
Yeah, Halloween night this year.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. All right, let's tell some stories here. Out of everything out there, hospitals, schools, prisons, what's your favorite place? What's the most haunted place where you know that you're going to go and get entertained and maybe get a little freaked out?
I would have to say that would be the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Why is it haunted?
Well, there's a lot of deaths have gone through there. I mean, the hospital has only been closed for 7 years, and we've actually been getting a lot of activity there. There was a nurse that went ahead and killed herself at the nursing station. There was a story that a guy actually fell down the elevator in the elevator shaft. Let's see. There were some issues that happened up in the labor room, in the OR.
How old is the hospital? When was it built?
I want to say it was... Oh, wow. She's actually looking it up. That's crazy.
Well,
I want to say 18-something.
Yeah, right. So it's over 100 years old.
Actually, correction, 1950.
Oh, 1950. Well, okay. Well, 70 years old. Okay, so it's definitely old. Why did they shut it down?
Let's see. Stacy went ahead and mentioned that to us when we were there. They didn't have the updated equipment, so they weren't really able to keep up with modern technologies. So all they had with the old equipment.
Right.
And also the building was just basically getting very old. It was deteriorating. So they went ahead and just abandoned it and set up a hospital somewhere else.
Wow. So they just walked away. So the building itself is still standing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you go into a hospital like that, look, I've seen all of the ghost hunting shows. I've played the video games, right? Silent Hill. And there's nothing creepier than an old abandoned hospital. You go through and you see the gurneys and the wheelchairs and the old equipment and the paint peeling off of the walls, and it's It's just a scary place in general. Is that what the Pittsburgh hospital looks like?
Yes, it does, basically, except for the nurses area. I mean, Brandon has been working really hard to keep that area clean, but there are some places within the hospital where you can actually see the wood chips, the paint chips, the stairwells are looking pretty rough, but, it is being maintained. So, and they have a lot of paranormal groups that come through there. So
now, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's really a good place to go. They have a lot of events over there. And like for us, the reason why we really like it is we actually had hardware damage there.
And what do you mean when you say hardware damage?
Well, me and the camera guy were up in OR2, and we're doing an EVP session up there and filming it. Well, I have my radio on, and I'm not getting anything, but I found out from Paula that she's been frantically trying to radio me. As soon as we walked through the threshold of OR2, my radio kicked in, and she said, "Can you hear me? We have equipment damage." And I picked up the radio, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" She said, "Oh, it's about time." I'm like, we didn't get a radio signal in there. But she proceeded to tell me what happened. When we set up our cameras, we don't use tripods. We use the regular mic stand base, the round metal base, because I'm a musician.
Right.
And also we put the mic stand on there without the mic, of course, but we clamp our DVR camera to it. Well, this particular camera, had the wires hanging off. It hadn't even been hooked up yet. It was going to be the last camera that we were going to go ahead and set up down in the old nurse's station. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw that whole camera goes flying forward, down, where the little metal plate over they call it the sheath of the camera, shot back, and the camera slammed onto the cement.
What, and what do you think caused that? I mean, was it because you guys were at the hospital and somebody didn't want you to be there? Was it a message?
I would think it was a message, but it was right next to the area where the guy fell down the elevator shaft and also where the nurse killed herself. I mean, we were basically right in the center of that area. But she tried everything she could to get it back up to work. She was hooking it up, and it wouldn't work. All of a sudden, when me and Chad came down there and I hooked it up, it worked just fine. Fired right up.
Now, you did an EVP session up in, you said O2. I guess that's operating room 2.
Yeah, R2. Mm-hmm.
Did you get anything up there?
I got a screen. I've got breathing behind the camera when we were in front of it. What? And for some reason, it sounded like somebody tapping their foot.
And so when you're there, are you, like when you were doing this EVP session, are you completely in the dark?
Yep.
Okay.
Completely.
You're completely in the dark, which is scary enough right there. And you're doing this EVP session. What were you asking? What were you trying to talk about when the scream occurred?
We were basically asking, was there anybody in that room at that particular time? Is this the operating table that you were on? Did you unfortunately die on this table? Or what was the reason why you were on this table? I mean, we didn't hear it as an audible scream. It was only on the recorder afterwards.
And that's one of the most fascinating parts with all of this ghost hunting in the EVP sessions. Some you hear and some you don't. Now, This was a scream, male or female? The scream, was it?
A female. It was a female.
It was a female scream. And was it like, in the EVP, what did it sound like?
Like a shriek?
Right. Something that you should have heard is what I'm saying.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, what it sounded like was a woman actually doing the last push to pop a baby out.
Oh, that's crazy.
Scream.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, when you go back and you review EVPs, these sessions sometimes, I assume, take hours. And you have to go back and listen to all of this, right? You don't have a choice. You have to go back and listen, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And that's when you heard the scream. What was the question that you had asked when the scream occurred?
Well, the first thing I asked myself, I go, what room was this in? Because unfortunately, we didn't mention on the EVP recorder what room we were in. So I had no clue where this scream came from. And then I heard the breathing behind the camera. And then I heard Chad's voice, and it kind of echoed. And I know the only room that's going to cause an echo is the operating rooms.
Right. And the silence that is there, is that part of the reasons why you investigate at night so you don't have noise pollution?
Basically, yes, because if you try to do an investigation during the day, you're going to have a lot of ambience, you're going to have a lot of wildlife, you're going to have birds flying, chirping, traffic, people walking, talking, you're going to have planes. So, plus also with the sunshine shining into a building, it's going to give you false positives. You're actually going to think you're seeing a shadow, but you're really not. Nighttime, when it's pitch black, the only light you actually have is from your LCD screen on the camera. And that way you can actually see shadows. But of course, sometimes your brain will play tricks on you because you're trying to focus on the LCD screen. And when you look away, you may see something. Kind of hard to differentiate what you're really seeing due to the fact that you got this glimpse of light hitting you in the face from the LCD screen. But we like to do it at night because there is no ambience, there is no wildlife, there's not that many planes flying over, and you're not going to have people walking up and down the street. Traffic is going to be minimal, so it's really a perfect time to actually investigate at night.
How do you, if there is a shadow person there and you're in the dark, how do you capture that on video?
Believe it or not, using a full spectrum camera, if you actually are, kind of panning it around and you kind of see something, just basically keep it on there, and you might actually see something that looks like, not really a figure, but a mass. And it'll like either go from left to right, or it may just stay on the left or the right. And you just make sure you just keep the camera on it. Because it's just, basically, it's going to look like a shadow, but it might not be a shadow person because it could be that the IR light is actually blending in with the background to actually give you the idea that it is a shadow.
And when you see that in other ghost hunting shows where they are saying that is a shadow person, are you looking at that going, no, I know what that actually is?
Sometimes, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, now back to the hospital. Did you experience anything there? Did you make contact? Oh, well, we have the Scream EVP, but what else happened?
I've got tugged my vest, because I always wear one of those tactical vests that has all of my gear in it.
Right.
The strap in the back actually got tugged. Paula actually had, it felt like a hand going down the side of her head, and it kind of lifted up her hair a little. The Periscope 360 went off. It started at like the 9 o'clock position, made its way all the way around to 3 o'clock. And Brandon was in there playing the EKG sound on his cell phone. And after it stopped, we heard what sounded like a frantic banging on the door, kind of like a nurse banging on the doors, asking, can she come in? And Joe was like, can you go ahead and do that again? And we heard it again, plain as day. Of course, Brandon at the time thought it was maybe a squatter or something, so he goes and kicks the door open and runs on out and find out there ain't nobody there.
The environment there, is it just the three of you? I mean, you keep saying Brandon, I know Paula, and I know you. I mean, you know that you guys are alone, right? That there isn't the possibility of somebody else being there causing these sounds.
Right. What we did is we started a project called the Para Unity Project, where we're actually bringing in the group leaders of different teams so they could join us. Brandon came in from Past. We had Joe from Truth Paranormal. And, of course, we had our 2 camera crew and then me and Paula. We were all accounted for when all these knocks occurred.
Yeah, and so what does that tell you? I mean, there is something going on, and you are communicating with the other side.
Most definitely. But the one thing that took the cake is our DR100 Mark III actually captured the sound of an elevator door opening and closing while the camera is pointing directly at it.
And there's no electricity in this building, or everything is turned off, right?
No electricity in that area of the building due to they had a huge storm, knocked out that entire area. The only place they have power is in the front by the emergency entrance, and that's where we parked the trailer, which was our command base.
Right.
Anywhere else, there is no power.
So, yeah, what I mean is the elevator was not working.
Right. No power in the elevator.
Wow. That's when you start to make these kinds of connections, do you think, I mean, what do you think is going on? Is it residual stuff? Is this, residents of the hospital that, have never left? Is there a graveyard next door? What do you think is going on?
For that particular moment with the elevator, that is actually considered a residual because a lot of paranormal investigators that come in there that do the events or do the private investigation have actually heard the elevator too. There's been no power in that building for that elevator since 1996.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And is this, so you were shooting with your camera crew. Is this going to be featured on the new show?
It sure will.
So the elevator will be in the new show? I want to hear this. That's why.
Yeah, we played it at NAMM when we did our interview with Just Hear This.
Wow.
Or Now Hear This.
I just got a question here from Mark over in Australia. He wants to know what you think about the show Paranormal Witness.
To tell you the truth, I've never really sat down and watched Paranormal Witness. From my understanding, it's basically reenactments and stories, and I just don't agree on the reenactments because we had the opportunity to be on Ghost Stories Told on, or My Ghost Story, something like that, and they wanted us to reenact our response when we actually captured an apparition running. And that's really difficult to do because how are you going to reenact something that happened 2 years ago?
Right. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking at images of the show here. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember exactly what the show was about. I know I've seen it. There's so many on, right?
Well, they also bring in all the Hollywood effects too. Where you got everybody on out there, the public, they're like, I want to see a ghost. They're thinking that they're going to see a full-bodied apparition, going to be fully clothed, they're going to be solid, or they're not going to have eye sockets, or they're going to be glowing and all that. I mean, that's basically what Hollywood has done. And when you watch Paranormal Witness, from my understanding, they actually bring in actresses and stuff to make them look like they're dead, and they basically scare the viewers, which I don't think should be the aspect of that show.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I did enjoy, I've talked to many people about this, so is this. There were some shows back in the mid-2000s that I would watch. I don't want to say names, but I would watch them as I fell asleep, and I would have the best dreams ever. I mean, just frightening nightmare dreams. And I enjoyed that. But that's exactly what these shows were designed to do, was to scare and to entertain, not necessarily. I mean, everybody can't get scratched like that at every single house or home or asylum that you go into, right?
Right, exactly.
But there was a scratch per show. Right. Yep. It just seemed like every show somebody was pulling up their shirt and there were claw marks down the back.
Well, I will tell you this, on our St. Albans episode, I actually got kicked in the shin and I got scratched. We were walking on out to the cage area where they can actually let all the patients go out and have a breath of fresh air, and they can't jump and kill themselves because, well, they're caged in. When I'm walking on down the hallway, I'm reciting my lines for my intro, and I look on over and I see I've got 7 marks going down the palm of my hand to my wrist, and they look like paper cuts. And I'm showing it to the camera. I'm going, they really don't like me. I go, I got kicked, and now I got scratched. Here's the best part. The time it took to go from the cage, down the grand staircase, out of the building, to the car, they were gone.
Now, this was this past weekend when you were filming?
That was the first time we went.
Now, you were just there this weekend. You were on Coast with me on Saturday night. How did that investigation go?
That's the one where we actually detected, well, not really detected, but we actually saw on the DVR what appears to be someone wearing khaki pants with white tennis shoes. And this is the really cool part. We told Marcel about that, and she said, I got to tell you a story. And she proceeded to tell us a story that there were 5 women that were in there doing an investigation, and they were like, I thought you told us we were the only ones in here. And she's like, well, what do you mean? She goes, we saw what appears to be a man wearing khaki pants and white tennis shoes, but he didn't have a head.
And you captured this on video. We were talking about this. Yeah, we were. I actually want you to tell the story again with St. Albans. Where is it? How old is it? It's a sanatorium. Tell us about that building itself. You guys just filmed there for the new show, Paranormal Journey, and you went there for an investigation, and that's where you saw this headless figure. So tell us about that, and what is St. Albans?
Well, the St. Albans Sanatorium used to be an all-boys school. They had issues back then where there were bullies, and some of the students would actually off themselves due to getting bullied. The school was basically from 1892 to, I believe, 1917. And then John C. King went ahead and took over and turned it into the St. Albans Sanatorium, where they were actually doing practices of different treatments, such as the hydrotherapy, the electroshock therapy. I believe that began in 1919. And
so a real sanatorium.
Oh, yeah, a real 100% sanatorium.
Right. Okay, and what part of the building did you, man, that just sounds like a lot of bad things went down there, for a lot of years. And I just can't imagine electroshock therapy or water therapy or whatever therapy. And certainly probably TB and tuberculosis was involved, where they just, sent, everybody that had afflictions, and they just wanted to get them out of society and group them together. And that's what this place was.
Yeah.
Okay, what part of the building did you see this figure?
We were actually down in the main lower basement of the St. Albans Sanatorium. They actually have a bowling alley down there. They have 2 lanes that they went ahead and built. So the patients that are on good behavior, they can actually go down there and bowl. But we actually set up all of our devices. We had the Periscope 360, the regular Periscope, and I also used an MF1. And, of course, Joe is with us. He put the Zoom digital recorder on near the gutter, and we all step back. We're standing there. Well, actually, we're not standing. We're sitting, and the Periscope starts going off, both of them. And when they all went off, all our cameras went dead.
Now, when you say Periscope, I'm thinking like a periscope in a submarine. Right. What is the Periscope?
The Periscope basically looked like a flying saucer with a bunch of sticks in it.
It's the one with the silver sticks sticking out of it?
Yeah.
Looks like a turbine, kind of like.
There you go. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, and what does it do?
That one is a static detector. Any static energy that goes around it or near it, it will actually set it off. And where those little sticks are, which are little plastic rods, if it's anywhere near the vicinity of the rod, it will actually light up. And it can start from like red and go from yellow all the way to green and then just completely all the way around. Well, in the bowling alley, it started at red and it's made it all the way to green. And then the other periscope jumped from red to yellow. And then during that time, 2 of our cameras died. So I was like, I'm going to go upstairs, get a new battery, put it in this camera, and I will be right back. At that time, I believe Joe was using the EchoVox on his phone, which is a product put out by Big Beard Studios, which is kind of cool. It's like the Ovilus, which is a phonetic generator.
Right.
But the EchoVox takes your speech and turns it into a human gyroscope. And whatever voices comes out over all that, it's a 50-50 chance that it's a voice talking to you. Well, while I'm upstairs getting the battery, I'm looking on the DVR camera, and I'm like, told Paula, I go, what is that? And we're looking at the screen. It looks like that there's someone standing or leaning against the wall. You can see the khaki pants and the shoes, but you can't really see, well, ahead. You can't really see anything up above that. And we're sitting there going, well, I think that's Joe. And also we see the brim of Joe's hat come into focus. And I'm like, that's not Joe.
Wow.
So we captured that. We go downstairs, find out from Joe that while he's using the EchoVox, he got cussed out, and then it shut off. It just shut his phone off.
Now, was this at night? Was this during the day? Were the lights on? Were the lights off?
Oh, it was at night.
It was at night. So was the bowling alley lit up?
I had a softbox in there because that one is pitch black.
Right.
And even if you put an IR camera in there, it is still pitch black. And since I wanted to see if the periscopes would light up or the MF1, I wanted to actually add a softbox in there. And another reason why, the camera that we placed in there is the one that fell over at Old South Pittsburgh, and the IR no longer works. So it can only work as a regular camera. So I had to light that area up to use that camera.
Now, we're going to hit a break here in 60 seconds, so I'm going to get this question out really quick. You said 2-lane bowling alley. I've seen pictures of it. So there isn't really entrances or anything. It's 2 long walls on both sides of the lanes that are going down. There's no entrance or exit except for at the end of the bowling alley, where you're doing the bowling part, right?
Right.
So there's no way for somebody to get in and out of there.
No, it's highly impossible due to the fact that if you take the one door to the left, that takes you all the way to the boiler room.
Right.
And if you go to the right, well, that just takes you to the stairwell. And then you got to climb 3 flights of stairs to get all the way back up to the first floor.
And where was this guy leaning against the wall?
All the way down the lane closest to where the pin setter was.
And that's what I'm talking about. Right, so there's no way for anybody to get all the way down there, and certainly somebody without a head, too, as well. Exactly. Make that perfectly clear. Gavin, we got to take a break right here. Get Paula ready. When we come back, Paula Purcell, Gavin's partner, is going to join us right here on Fade to Black, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Oh, fall. My favorite time of year. Cooler temperatures and, well, let's be honest, layers. Lots and lots of layers. Look, I get it. We all have that favorite hoodie. Matter of fact, I've got a few favorite hoodies. You should wear yours. Enjoy it. I do. But I stay focused on my health year-round. And for me, I take Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. I eat right, control my portion sizes, still maintain a commitment to regular fitness, and I get plenty of rest, and I take Nature's Youth RSF. It's okay to cover up your beach body for a few months, but don't just forget about it. Nature's Youth understands exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products, and Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, They know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain peak performance levels and fight the aging process. So layer up and get started today with Nature's Youth RSF. naturesyouth.com. Simple to use, even simpler to order. Go to naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code TALK.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough. Twitter is on fire tonight. I've got some great Twitter questions lined up right now. This portion of the show is brought to you by Life Change Tea. You can go right now by clicking on their banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. It's going to take you to getthetea.com. All you got to do is mention Jimmy either over the phone or online when you order, and you're going to get yourself free shipping. Just go to the specials page. That's what I would do. And, you know, and I talk about it all the time right here in the studio. I do my drops, man. Here is my pine bark. Here is my moringa, my olive leaf right here. My vitamin C. Where's my vitamin C? Rita's been in here, took my vitamin C from me. But there you go. I do my drops every single day. All right. Paula Purcell. Paula, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay. Love the accent. All right. Paula, really quick before we get started, and I've got a bunch of questions lined up here from Twitter that I'm going to field to you instead of Gavin because you're special. So we'll do that. And so, but how did you and Gavin meet, and where did the idea start with Phantasmic Ghost Hunters?
Well, we have been friends for a long time through family influences, but we basically, I've always had and due to my mother, because I'm actually a second generation ghost hunter. My mother introduced me when I was 14 years old to the field. And, of course, my mom was I call it an old traditional ghost hunter. She was one of those that your ears is your best instrument in life. And she would have me to go out, and we would go, I hate to say this, I love my mom, God bless her soul. We would go to a cemetery at least once a month, and it could be daytime, it could be nighttime, and she'd make me sit, and she says, your best bet into communicating with anything is just sit there, close your eyes, and listen.
Your mom would, how old were you?
I was 14 years old.
That's crazy. Your mom was cool. So what did you learn from going to the cemeteries? Did you make contact?
I did, and the deal is I have a sensitivity, and my mom had it. I passed it. She pretty well has passed it on to me. I'm very sensitive on my emotions. And wherever location I am, I have literally left locations in tears. I've left in sad. Certain environments will make me completely sad, and I won't even know the history of the environment. We were at a location. I didn't know nothing about this location. We were hanging out with a few other paranormal friends, just getting a get-together. Didn't know nothing about the history of the location. We were there, and next thing I know, I was emotionally upset. I was almost in tears. I had gotten to the point I wanted to throw up. I had to get out of the building, and I went and walked down the block from the building and went to the vehicle and sat inside the vehicle for a few minutes. And Gavin messaged me, and he's asking me, going, "What's wrong?" And I explained to him the whole situation and what was going on. And one of the fellow investigators that were there, at our little paranormal powwow, said that she started giving her a little history of the building, and we ended up they had a psychic medium there, and he says, "Well, I see a little boy in the corner crying," and I didn't know anything about this, and I finally calmed down long enough for me to get back into the building and try to get myself back together. And when I got back into the building, that's when everybody started telling me about everything that was going on. So I was like, okay, well, at least I didn't think I was completely crazy. I knew something was going on, but I wasn't too sure what was going on.
Do me a favor right now, just for me. Say sausage, gravy, and biscuits.
Sausage, gravy, and biscuits.
That's what I'm talking about, Paula. Right there. All right. The audience knows exactly where I'm going with that. I mean, I love my sausage, gravy, and biscuits. And so there you go. Okay. This is very interesting. Do you feel that it is because of you? Is that why Gavin made you a partner, right? You are guaranteed to have these feelings, and you know what's about to happen, and that these entities or ghosts or spirits are cool with you, that maybe you're attracting what's happening.
I don't know if I am or not. And I mean, me and Gavin's always had a long friendship. I mean, me and Gavin known each other for about 9 years. And so, I mean, the late really, as friendship grew into, I guess, a partnership. But necessarily every location I go to, I do not feel 100% vibe. I have gone into locations where supposedly we've gotten evidence and I got nothing out of it. And I've gotten into locations to where I will literally walk around. Usually 9 times out of 10, what I do is that when we go into locations, I'll go and I'll walk around. 9 times out of 10, it's by myself. And I'll walk around and I just feel the place. And even though I've done a little research on the place and I've done some history on the place, because that's what I also do, is I do the historical and the research stuff on our locations before we go. And I get a little bit more depth than most average person. I get obsessed with it sometimes. But anyway, I'll go into a location and I will just walk around and I will feel like there's a sense, of urgency in certain areas. Just take, for instance, St. Albans Sanatorium. Of course, that's my favorite place to go because I got most of my personal experience as a sensitive there. Jacob's room upstairs, I go in there and I feel like is a motherly's love. It feels like I go in there, I feel warm vibes. I feel like there is something there, as in, a childlike sensation going into that room. And so I've always been fond of that room. Every time we came back and go in there is an experience. The boiler room has an older gentleman named Smokey. I go in there, I do feel the tensity of the back of my neck and the stress in that room, for the fact that there is a gentleman who, if you're a female investigator, that's the room. If you want activity going on, that's the room a female investigator needs to go into. Because then Don't always go in that room by yourself, though, because I do feel the insecurity in that room.
Why is that? Why not do it by yourself?
Well, it's not the fact that, it's just the fact that I can go in there. I feel insecurity as in, I don't know, it's because I guess I'm a woman.
Right.
And it's the fact that I heard that Smokey can be a very little, he doesn't keep his hands to himself kind of spirit.
Right.
And so you got to have, you do need to go in there. I don't mind going there. I don't mind talking to him. I don't care if the other person is in there with me, long as, they could be their distance from me. But for me to be, felt up or goosed up or to the point, you feel, insecure about yourself because of a situation of you have a spirit that might be a little bit too fresh for you.
Well, I'm looking at pictures right now of St. Albans and the grand staircase, the round, the archway that's connecting the two. This place is. I'm looking at the one of the side doors. This place is haunted. This place is scary. The bowling alley. You hear bowling alley, and it sounds all cool. This place is haunted.
Plus, it has a lot of history. It's got history dated before that building has even existed.
Yeah, I'm looking at the couch that's in one of the hallways. Man, who would sit on that couch? This place is haunted, man. This place is crazy haunted. Okay, I've got a bunch of questions here on Twitter. Were you able to access any? This is from Christopher. Any of the names of some of the ghosts that you were encountering at St. Albans? Any names?
Well, we've got as in EVPs or as in research?
No, names of the ghost. Did the ghosts reveal their names to you?
Not necessarily. I think we had gotten on our first investigation there, we did get the word Smokey when we did the investigation in the boiler room of Smokey.
Right.
There is one EVP where we think it's somebody's name, but it's not a very clear EVP, and it was in the bowling alley, and that was on our we haven't gone 100% through all of our evidence from last weekend, so we're not too sure exactly 100% on our EVPs of what we've gotten from last weekend.
Right.
But from previous investigation there, we do have an uncleared name in the bowling alley. We can't exactly make it out, and we've got a couple of people that's trying to help us clean up that EVP to see if we can get that name taken out even further.
Was there any access near the pin settlers or behind the pins at the back of the bowling alley? Is there any access in and out of that area?
No, there's not. The only way you can go, like for instance, if the actual bowling alley did work and the pin centers did work, they literally had to open the front of the pin centers to go in to reset a pin, or the what they call the circle wheel in there to make the pins to pop back up, and then close the front bell housing on it.
Right.
Before they can actually have access to it. But as far as anything going behind it or anything, no.
Why is it that, and this is from Deb, she wants to know that, why is it that between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. everything seems to come alive? What do you think is going on?
I always considered, my mother told me, and the reasoning for this, in my opinion, and I kind of believe this a little bit. I believe the veil of our world is the most thinnest is at that time. Temperature changes. Think about this. Right before the sun rises, you ever notice the temperature's always colder?
Right.
Before the sun rises.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It could be the month of July. The sun, you're going to have that humidity where it's 90 degrees outside, but between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning, that temperature is going to be cooler than anything else it is. Same way in the cold weather. I believe a lot has got to do with the weather. The lot's got to do with, if you're a Wiccan, or if you are of that society where you think the veil is thin at that time period, which a lot of people do that believes in that faith. I mean, I think a lot's got to do with that, not just, the paranormal, but in general.
How do you deal? This is from Ant. He wants to know, how do you deal with dark demonic forces that are wanting to attach to your soul and your energy? How do you deal with that?
Well, I always pray before we go into an investigation. I always carry the positivity that on my personal view, I am a Christian.
Right.
I put a personal view of, I'd say a prayer before I go in to do an investigation. I also say a prayer before I leave to do an investigation. I always go in believing that Jesus is in my right hand. And I always believe that St. Michael is on the other hand, because I was raised Catholic. And I just have that positivity, and I've never had a negative energy be attached to me or bring one home with me.
Very... Gavin's not coming back on the show, Paula, so get comfortable. You're just going to be doing the rest of the show. And Matt points out here, and this is pretty interesting, that is what I don't understand about all of the machines and guys with the tech gear, right? It's mothers who give the gift to their daughters that are the real ghost hunters. What do you think about that? I mean, us guys, we got to have a K2, a Mel this, a periscope that, a digital recorder, a video camera, IR, infrared, heat-seeking missiles, right? That's what we have to go and ghost hunt with. Women just need to just walk in and tell you what's going on.
I guess so.
It's true, isn't it?
Well, I do to a point. I mean, my daughter has a little bit of my ability already. I'm trying to teach her like my mother taught me.
What would you teach her?
Well, right now, of course, I have had a couple of spiritual guides kind of help me with this, because my mom was more flamboyant than I am when it comes to doing certain things. But they tell me just to take her with you, let her experience it. If she tells you anything, great. If not, don't push her, because push her might take her away from the paranormal. You want her to be accepted to the paranormal. Right.
And would your mom, if you said God rest her soul, is she no longer with us?
No, I lost her about 20 years ago.
You lost her 20 years ago. You don't even sound 20 years old. What do you mean? Okay. All right. Okay. Enough of that. What would your mom think about what you're doing today?
She would love it.
And what about, cemeteries are one thing, but you're going into, prisons and hospitals and sanatoriums. I mean, haunted places, schools, abandoned schools, scariest thing ever. Would she be cool with that? And would she go with you?
Probably so. She would probably actually telling me you're doing this wrong and you need to reconcentrate yourself and recenter yourself.
Did she do Ouija boards and?
Oh, no.
Okay. Why would you react like that? What's wrong with the Ouija board?
I have a personal issue with Ouija boards, and my mom put that instillment in me, I guess. Or I've had a neighbor that had a personal experience with an Ouija board come back and told me a horror story. I was done with that.
So that's it. No Ouijas in your house.
Oh, no.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite place to go to? When I watch the TV shows, and I've been to a couple of places that have been kind of freaky, but when I watch the shows, the prisons freak me out, but I think it's the hospitals. But some of the old schools are pretty trippy too. What's your favorite place to go to if you want to get scared?
You want to get scared?
Well, that's the whole reason for doing this, right?
Not really. Me, it's always a learning environment. Personally, my very, very, very personal opinion, I go to these places, it's like school to me.
How so?
I'm going into an environment that I don't really personally know, and I'm learning from the experience. I might be taking technology and your EVPs and your electronic devices into these locations, but you're also learning from the location. You're not just going in there and expecting, you're going to see a ghost, or you're going to be, all the bells and whistles in the location that makes it, haunted or whatever. You're also going in there to learn the environment. You might actually have the spirit tell you a story. You might learn from, that EVP might gave you a name or something, and you can go back home, take that name, look it up, see if it links to the location. You might actually find something about it.
What do you think is actually going on, Paula? Do you think that the communication that is happening, and you guys are proving that, and with your journey, but that communication that is happening, is it a spirit that is lost? Is it somebody that doesn't even know that they're dead? What do you think is actually happening with the communication?
It could be many things. It could be their story's not been told. They could have unfinished business. They might want to find the ending of their chapter in order to walk on, or they might not understand why they are here. I mean, you've got to go in there with an open mind. You've got to go in there with the positivity that nothing's going to hurt you. You're only there to find out, about that spirit, and to find out if it's something that needs to be helped, or if it's a power struggle. Sometimes they have, I call it individual strings attached to the earth, which is making them stay here.
Have you, one of the things that makes me sad and scared at the same time are the ghosts of children. Have you had communication with child spirits?
Yes, I have. I've had a couple of them.
Tell me about it.
One being Jacob in Concern at St. Albans. Jacob is I would say about a 5 or 6 year old little boy.
Ooh.
And he was, I've looked up a history on him once we did the investigation the first time around.
Right.
He's got a very sad story.
What happened?
And he was killed in the hospital. And you got to realize some of the patients that get put in those facilities, you don't know what set mind they're in. And a lot of people who had, you got to think not just adults went to these insane asylums or sanitariums. You had children whose parents thought their children were demonically, were possessed. Something was not right about them. They couldn't, if you couldn't thrive in their little family and they were considered different any form or fashion, you were sent off even at a young age of 5 or 6 years old.
Oh man.
And so you have a 6-year-old little boy in a sanitarium put into the same ward, not with children, but with
adults,
men.
Right.
If you're a little boy, you're going to be stuck on the ward where you have a 27-year-old down the hallway. Down the other hallway, you have a 47-year-old pedophile.
Ooh, man.
You kind of see where the story's going to.
Right. And what did he tell you was going on? Man, that's just tell me about it. What happened?
Between research and the investigation, we've learned a lot. The pedophile is still there. His name is Donald.
Oh man.
And he is scared of Donald. He says that he runs from Donald. And he stays in his room, and he locks. You can't lock his room, but he kind of just. There's a little closet in his room, and I feel like he stays in that closet whenever Donald is roaming the hallway.
Oh, man. So he dealt with Donald in life, right?
Yes.
And now he's also dealing with Donald on the other side.
Yes.
That's got to be is there a way to help? What do you do? Is there a way to get involved?
As far as to that effect, I don't know, because of course the owners of the building does not want anything done in the building. She doesn't want any smudging done. She doesn't want any cleansing done. She doesn't want, and that's one of the things that you got to deal with. Even though you go into a building that is publicly publicized for investigations, you also have to respect the owners who own it. And they have it to where there's not really much you can do. I mean, you have to go in there and listen to the child, and you got to say, sometimes you just got to have, and I mean, I've left there, very, I have even walked into Donald's room and had a conversation with him.
Wow. And
but no, I didn't get an answer back before you answer that question.
Right. And then when you go home at night after something like that, or you go back to the hotel and his name's Arnold?
Donald.
No, the kid.
Jacob.
Jacob. Has Jacob come back with you? Has that conversation continued, or does he stay there at the sanatorium?
He stays there.
Oh, man, that's so sad. Have you gotten an EVP?
The only thing I've gotten on an EVP in Jacob's room where we had the word run. And I'll tell you a little story. I don't know if we have any paranormal investigators out there listening or anybody to that effect out there in listening world or not. I don't know how you all feel about certain things that you use in investigations, but at one time or another, we had a little, Furby is, right?
Yep.
Okay, we brought a Furby with us because he's electronic, he associates, and he's got would be appealing to a 6-year-old. We brought Furby with us, we put him in Jacob's room. Furby, of course, does his own little thing, he wakes up and does his little Furby talk. And, of course, if they're hungry, you stick their finger in their mouth, and they'll do the yum-yum sound.
Right.
Or if you pet them, they'll go to sleep.
Right.
Well, that was a good social interaction. Very little, all you have to have is very little social reaction with those Furbies. They will communicate. So we stuck him in there, and at first we had everybody in there. We didn't have any communications, and that's when I told Gavin and one of our cameramen to leave me with one of the cameramen, but I want him to stay at the doorway. Leave me pretty well in the room. I lived in the room, had the Furby in front of me, and I started talking to Jacob. And I said, because this is when I first started talking to Jacob, because I knew I had to do something to warm him up. Because I could tell he was not, a little bit of shy and a little bit of scaredness because too many people were in his room. So I started talking to him, and I was like, okay, here's my little Furby. By the way, her name is Tika. And I was like, would you like to come over there and pet Tika? Or try to wake her up because I think she's went to sleep on me. Next thing I know, I hear this cooing sound coming from Tika, and then Tika wakes up for me, and I was like, and then I had the spirit box with me, and I said, did you wake Tika up? And I got a word yes. And of course Tika automatically goes, hungry. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna show you how to feed Tika. And so I showed him how to feed Tika. Put your finger in his mouth and he'll just start doing the yum-yum sound.
Right.
Well, about a minute after, it took a little bit, but about a minute after I did that, all of a sudden, I started getting the yum-yum sound.
Oh, shut up. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Well, hold on, Paula. Stay right there. I've got to take a break. I got to do a commercial break, and this is going in a direction that I wanted to go into, and I've got questions. So just stay right there. We'll come back to Tika and little Jacob at the sanatorium. This is an amazing story. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
PatriotPrepared.com carries the leading brands of storable food from Numana, Legacy, and Heaven's Harvest. Patriot Prepared. Our name says it all. We're dedicated to empowering you to be self-reliant and confident in any circumstance. Whether you want to be prepared in the event of an emergency or you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, PatriotPrepared.com has prepackaged meals and kits for your entire family. Legacy, Heaven's Harvest, and Numana are known for high-quality, great-tasting GMO GMO-free, nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. Simple to prepare, easy to store, gluten-free and organic high-quality nutrition options with a 25-year shelf life. You can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. So go to PatriotPrepared.com right now to pick up your supply of high-quality storable food for your family, because it makes good sense to be prepared. That's PatriotPrepared.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Would you like relief from muscle pain, headaches, and discomfort to sleep better, have more energy during the day, and just feel naturally amazing? Fibromalic can help. Its blend of malic acid and magnesium can provide pain relief and comfort for those who experience fibromyalgia. It helps your body absorb more oxygen, and it works quickly for a significant reduction in pain within 48 hours, all without a prescription. Ask for Fibromalic at health and vitamin shops or shop fibromalic.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guests tonight, Gavin Kelly and Paula Purcell of the Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. Their new show on Amazon, the original series, The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown, is debuting Halloween night, October 31st this year. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Studio Dome, right there. Now, I'm showing this in the bunker cam, so there you go. If you want to win this, we're going to be giving this away next month. Look at that. A full Studio Dome stereo Bluetooth sound system in a hard shell case, all of the cables, everything there. We're going to give that away next month. This month, all you got to do is join the membership area and get a 1-year subscription. Your name goes in the hat. We'll pull the name live on the air, on the bunker cam, and give this away next month. This month, we're giving away a Tascam DR100 Mark III digital recorder, the one that we've been talking about all night on the show. Now, Paula, back to what we were just talking about. Now, the thing is this. Furbies are haunted automatically. All right. When our daughters, growing up, they had to have a Furby, right? And I got to tell you, that thing, I would go in our daughter's room at night, right? And, before I went to bed midnight, and that thing would wake up and talk. And man, Furbies are freaky haunted things. And so here you are, and Jacob is actually interacting. What exactly happened, and how did you know it was Jacob?
Well, I felt like there was always a childlike spirit in that room, and the communication was just too childlike. At one point, after we had done a little first session with doing Furby and doing a little social interaction, I had got up and went to the doorway. Gavin's down the hallway. He's inspecting another room with his cameraman. We're having a conversation in the hallway. Well, Furby is actually going ballistic all of a sudden in the room. We're turning around, and I'm like, because we have Furby in baby mode. I call her because I always thought it was the best communication mode with childlike spirits is put it in baby mode, because most of the Furbies have 4 personalities. So if you want to call a Furby a schizophrenic, you can, because they do carry more than one personality if you want to. So we had him in baby mode.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, the Furby just went completely bonkers and went completely nuts. I don't know if you call it, you call him demon possessed, but I like I said, he was wanting to change one of his faces of Eve's, I guess.
Right.
And next thing I know, we got the Valley Girl.
Wow.
And I mean, I was like, did you just do something to my Furby? And then we had gotten across the spirit box. Yes.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, well, where are you going to? I said, why did you change it? And then all of a sudden I didn't get no answer.
Right.
And I was like, at first I was a little, I for some reason, I ended up getting a little upset because I was like, I didn't like you to change my Furby because I like baby mode. I don't care for the other 3 personalities. And I think after that I scared him a little bit, and I had to, of course, leave the room for a little bit to calm him down. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, we came back into the room and we all sat down. Each one of us took a corner so we didn't feel crowded on him. And we had some balls in the room, and I sat down towards the center. I decided to sit down towards the center of the room, and everybody else had a corner except for the closet, because I pretty well knew that Jacob was in that closet, because every time he gets scared or if he gets, I believe he always sinks to that closet in that room. And I sat in the room, and there's these circles painted on the floor, and there's like there's an X on the floor, and I sit there and it had all these balls. Well, at one point of the investigation that night when we walked away, the balls were scattered in that room. And we had went downstairs to the DVR system, just to make sure all of our cameras were still going pretty good and everything.
Right.
And we had noticed when we came back to Jacob's room, all the balls were lined up according to size.
No, for real.
Yes.
And
we've got video footage of that, and that will be released in that episode.
Wait, whoa. Stop right there. Pump the brakes on this truck. Are you saying, I just want to understand clearly what you're saying here. You're saying that the cameras were running.
Yes.
You leave Jacob's room. You go out, tech talk, right? You're doing your thing. The balls were scattered. You came back and the balls were lined up by size. Are you saying that was caught on film?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
And then we've got a ball that goes from one end. It's a big, huge ball of light. We're pretty sure it's Jacob, because I've never seen anything like this in my whole life. All of my years of working with paranormal, working with Gavin, working with the show, working with all the evidence and everything, and I still cannot explain it. I still don't understand it.
Right.
Because some things you just experience, you don't have words to give a definition of what you're seeing.
I don't have words right now. And I want, are you saying that you see the balls on video move around and line up according to size? You guys, yeah. Really?
And then we've got this one ball that just goes from, and it's a ball of light, and we're pretty sure that it's Jacob, because I don't believe in orbs. I believe 99.9% of orbs is going to be dust, molecules, water droplets.
Bugs.
It's going to be dust bunnies, bugs, But what I saw is unexplanatory. It's on our website. You can go to it and watch the St. Albans episode, but you've got this one where you have this ball of light, and it goes from one end of the room to the other end of the room, and it's right around the balls.
Now,
and then all of a sudden, it just disappears.
Now, Karen, hi, Karen. Karen just said, where can we see this? The balls arranging themselves by size, that's not out yet. That's going to be in the new series, right?
Yes.
Okay,
but
so that's...
you can see the ball of light on our website.
Okay, I'm going to go check that out myself. I can't wait to see this. What the Furby? Let's go back to the Furby for a second. Was the Furby demon possessed after you left?
Furby has not worked correctly since we've left.
I knew it. It's demon possessed. Why is it, Paula? Do you have any dolls that, what is it about spirits and dolls? I mean, it freaks me out. They just look scary to begin with. It could be a Barbie. It could be a Raggedy Ann. It doesn't matter. Dolls freak me out. What is it about spirits and dolls like the Furby?
That I really don't know, but I mean, as far as dolls don't bother me.
Okay, but
well, if you want to get technical about it, dolls don't bother me. And if Gavin really knew what was in my storage unit out back, he wouldn't walk in it.
Yeah. And you've seen the movies, you've heard the stories, and you've seen the pictures of these dolls that are, that have a spirit connected to them, and that it goes from house to house.
Okay, that's one movie I will not watch. I'm sorry. Gavin's talking in the background.
Oh, man. I love this. When you go into a house and somebody says that they have a doll that is possessed or an object that is possessed, what do you think is going on there?
Actually, I have a story on that. I've actually had to help a client before with an item that had an attachment to it. I had a client that called. Well, we get messages all the time through Facebook and through our phone lines and stuff, and we usually don't like to do private investigations, but this residential investigations, and this one would end up being an old friend of mine. She says, I know you personally, and my aunt will not let anybody that I do not know in the house. And since I know you, she will let me bring you into the house. We have a situation at hand, and we need your help majorly.
What happened?
What had happened is that her aunt's sister, which was like an 83-year-old lady, had passed away. And she, of course, they went to clean out her house and everything, and there was a lot of old antiques and stuff. And her sister, of course, took a few of her things that she would like to have from her sister and brought them to her house. Well, as soon as they brought this one object into the house, which they didn't know at the time was causing all this dilemma, they started having some major activity in the house. Kitchen cabinet doors were opening and closing. They felt like when they were laying in bed, someone was taking a sheets. You know how you have your hospital folding corners on sheets that will tuck you in to where you're being tucked in really, really tight?
Right.
Okay, they were experiencing that. They were experiencing music being turned on. And there was no reasoning for the music to turn on. They had experiences of doors opening and closing in the middle of the night. Everybody's asleep. They have felt their hair being tugged and pulled. But they said before, her sister had died, none of that stuff had happened. I said, do you think your sister is, stuck here, not happy, or something to that effect? She says, I don't think so. And so we went through and did a little study, and then I learned that they had received this mirror. And this mirror was passed down generation by generation. So her sister was a third generation on receiving this mirror. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to do an experiment. I want you to take that mirror out of the house, put it somewhere away from the house, maybe take it to the barn or something, and see if anything changes in the house. So they end up taking the mirror, and they took it, the barn. The barn's like at least half a mile behind the house. So they took it out to the barn, and then about 3 or 4 days later, I got a phone call back saying everything's gone.
Really?
We don't have any activity going on in the house, whatever, and everything. I said, know what your problem is. Your problem is that you've got something attached to that mirror, and that mirror does not want to be in that house. And so I had to get a hold of a couple of people that knows how to take care of items that are possessed, because personally I do not work with, detaching items or what they had to do to take care of that situation, and I referred them to somebody else that would help them.
Did it get fixed? How does somebody go about that? I mean, I know that you don't do it, but if you were going to try to detach a spirit from an object like that, what do you do?
Well, this friend that I referred them to, what they end up having to do is that, number one, they could not put the mirror back in the house, sadly, but true.
Right.
Number two, they end up building a box for it and putting it and sealing it in. And the lady did. She's kind of like, I don't call her Wicca, but she's kind of like. She knew how to bind something to an object to where they would not disturb the environment that they were in. And she knew how to seal the item up to where it wouldn't bother the family, but they left it in the barn. And it's in the barn, in the attic of the barn, and it's sealed up in a box. And she had put some salt in there and basically said that basically it just needed to be bounded because the mirror, whatever was inside the mirror, could look out and see the person.
That's crazy. They didn't have to bury it in the ground, but it's in the attic in the barn, and there it sits, and it never went back in the house. That's nuts.
No. And they've got it sealed up. They've built an actual, like a crate type box to where it's sealed up to where it doesn't see light.
I want to open that box. I know you do too. That is. Let me ask you this, Paula. We talk about EVPs a lot, and we've all heard them. I've played them a lot on this show. But what do you think is happening when you hear a voice? It's one thing to capture an EVP that you don't hear. That's a phenomenon that could be attributed to a lot of different things. The spirits are electronic. There's some kind of electromagnetic interference going on. They get into the gear, and it gets recorded. And I believe that they are real, right? A real EVP is a real EVP. But what about when you hear a voice? When you actually hear the voice out loud? What's going on there?
Are you talking about not being caught at all? You're talking about like as if you were in a room and all of a sudden you hear.
Yeah,
like
you hear a real right.
A disembodied voice. It depends. I mean, it depends on what the environment is. I mean, Ashmore Estates, we had gotten a nurse. Well, we had come out of the nurse's station area on the second floor, and we had just came out of a room called Margaret's room, and we do have it caught on EVP, but I heard it right then and there before it was on camera, and I came out of the room, and I had heard, we had answered a question, we had just basically stated a statement out in the air, and I don't remember what the answer is because it's been too long. Oh, that's what it was. Anybody want to talk to us? And then we got the word, I heard it, dead center. No.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I turned around and I looked at everybody and looked at the other person that was, or Gavin and another person that was with us, and I was like, did you hear that? And they all looked at me as like, no.
Now, that's where I'm going with this. That's exactly where I'm going. Nobody else heard it but you.
But, did you hear it? Okay, it was the other person that didn't hear it.
Okay, tell Gavin he's not on the show right now to stop yapping. Okay, he's had his 3 hours of fame this week. Okay, back to this.
Anyway, we heard 2 out of 3 of us heard no, and that was like, okay, but we were doubting ourselves. So when we sat down and looked at the camera footage, we hear the statement of us asking that question, does anybody want to talk? We literally hear it on the camera, the word no.
Male voice, female?
Male.
Really? And I feel like, well, I'm going to ask you, was this directed at you?
I don't know, because we had left Margaret's room, and the story behind Margaret's room in Ashmore Estates is we were trying to test a theory. I was told if you ever put a blanket over her window, she would yank it down. So we had went in there and put a blanket. Of course we did. We put that blanket on that window and we left. And 5 minutes later, we came back to check on the window, and sure enough, that blanket was off that window. And then that's when we come in there and we ask Margaret, would you like to talk to us? Of course, we didn't get an answer or whatever. So Gavin was determined, and he put the blanket back on the window, and that's when we left. And that's when we went out into the hallway, and then we...
Yes?
We went into the hallway, and that's when we had the SB7 said no. Yeah, that's right. We had the SB7. We did have the SB7 with us in that room. And I'm trying to rethink, because we haven't done that investigation in over 2.5 years.
Right.
And we did have the SB7 in that investigation room. And that's when we did get the word no in the room. And it was a very stern female voice that said no, as in with attitude.
Now, with the blanket, I mean, somebody that's listening to you right now, they're going to go, they didn't put the blanket up there that well, could have fallen down, it was wind. How did you make sure that the blanket couldn't fall down by itself?
Hooks.
So you hooked it up there?
Yeah.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Gavin did, yeah.
Okay.
I'm short. He's taller. He had to be the taller one.
I got you. So, but it was secure, right?
It was secured up there. And then when we went back the second time, we even secured it even more.
Wow.
Just to verify, and we even checked the window to make sure there was no wind coming around it. And the deal is that when we first drove up to Ashmore Estates, and I pulled up to the window, and this is where I felt a sensation of a situation going on that another of my feelings is that as soon as I went and saw Ashmore Estates, I went up straight up to outside the building, not went inside the building yet. And I had walked up straight up to that window, didn't know the story about the blanket or anything, because the proprietor, Robin Terry, did not tell me the story about the blanket just yet. I came up to that window, and I looked at that window, and I said, there's somebody standing on the other side of that window looking at me. And then that's when I started taking pictures of the building and stuff. Then we went inside. Then we had talked to the owner of it, and that's when he told us, because we had went in there and saw a blanket laying on the chair, and I was like, what's the deal with the blanket on the chair? And he says, well, there's a theory, and we have proven that theory several times over, that she don't like to have that blanket on that chair. And so I always prove that theory when everybody comes and visits. We'll put the blanket up there on that window, and we'll prove, some of these people that walk through, they come back. And, of course, some people says, oh, you had somebody come there behind us and took the blanket down.
Right.
There's no such thing as no spirit in there.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we'll test that theory tonight. And so after we started investigation, of course, that's the first thing we did. We went down there and put that blanket up. And then we walked and did our own little walkthrough and everywhere else. And then we went back and checked on that blanket. And sure enough, the blanket was down, and that blanket came down.
Did you guys?
Twice.
Did you get that on video?
We didn't have a DVR at the time.
I'm going to tell you something, Paula. That thing with Jacob's room and the balls and the headless guy and the ball, you guys are potentially going to have the craziest, biggest show in all of paranormal history once this stuff gets out there. This is, pretty fantastic stuff. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Are you surprised? I mean, are you guys capturing? I mean, this is, I realize that this stuff just happened, but are you surprised about this? That you are able to, get this stuff on camera, get the evidence there, or recorders and EVPs and so forth for everybody out there to see, to prove once and for all that this phenomena is real.
Of course. I mean, that's the point of me actually doing this, is to I want the spirits to try to give you their story, even though if it's only for one word, one picture, just to prove that we do coincide with them.
What's the best way for everybody to get a hold of you guys? I know that Gavin is, he's, sitting in back of you, but so I'll just say this to you really quick. What's the easiest way for everybody to get a hold of you guys? And if they have a location or a place that they may want investigated, can they get in touch with you?
Well, like I said, we don't do privates. We don't do residentials. I mean, we do a lot of, publicized events. Unless it's a severe situation that you beg and plead us to do, then we might take the case into consideration. PhantasmicGhostHunters.com is our website. It has a lot of our contact information on the bottom. We have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page privately. Gavin has a Facebook page privately. We have a group page called Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. We have a Twitter account.
Oh, yeah. What is your Twitter?
That I don't know, because Gavin keeps up with the Twitter crap. I don't.
Yeah, I didn't. Luckily
I do Facebook. Okay, my daughter got me started on Instagram, and I was like, "Ooh, what's Instagram?"
Right. Well, that's my bad about Twitter, because we do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 tweets per show, and I didn't ask for your Twitter at the very beginning of the show, but I apologize for that. I want to thank you. Just a fantastic guest, and I want to thank Gavin. The show does premiere the Amazon original series, The Paranormal Journey Into the Unknown, debuts October 31st later on this year. The website is phantasmicghosthunters.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Really quick, Paula, before I let you go, I want to thank the both of you. Are you guys going to be out speaking? Are there any events that you guys are doing soon?
Yes, we are. Of course, we're going on to another investigation next weekend in Malvern, Iowa. But we will be speaking in a convention in August.
Which convention?
Be Kansas City Paracon.
There you go, Kansas City Paracon. Okay, and that's in August. And, of course, that information is up on your website, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And yell back at Gavin and go, Jimmy says thank you. Do that for me right now on the air.
He hears you.
Okay. Gavin, you're the best, my brother, and I'll be in touch with both of you guys later on in the week. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you, Gavin Kelly. You guys are the best. Great show tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What a great show. Thank you so much. Paula Purcell, Gavin Kelly, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. 323-825-5045. Your phone call's next. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my... It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. Mm-hmm. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right?
and it went down 100 points. 262 now, it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
Would odors, mold, and mildew describe your basement or crawl space? It doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with the technologically advanced Wave Moisture Control Units. The computerized operation maximizes moisture control and also expels harmful radon, combustion gases, and numerous other pollutants. Dehumidifiers are old technology that do nothing for air quality and waste energy. Wave units are intelligent, self-monitoring, do not need maintenance, and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively over 15 years. They've been tested and installed in public and military housing and by property managers nationwide. Buy a unit now, and if your home is not fresher and drier, you can return it for a full refund for up to 12 months. What have you got to lose? Call now. 1-888-618-WAVE. 1-888-618-WAVE. Or visit mydryhome.com. That's mydryhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What a great show tonight. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Twitter's making me laugh. You guys are the best, man. Chat room's been great tonight. You guys have just been wonderful. What a great show. And I want to reflect back a little bit here on Gavin and Paula. That is a serious black and white, yin and yang. That's exactly what they need to be. You know, it's the perfect, and I don't mean this in the wrong way. You need a guy like Gavin that's the technical guy, right? You need that male side of things that is there with the gear and is investigating things in a technical way. And then you have Paula. Paula's very sensitive. She knows what's going on. She's making the connections, and very charismatic too as well. And what a wonderful interview and conversation tonight on the show. Thank you so much. Phantasmic Ghost Hunters, and their links are over at jimmychurchradio.com, and you can go check it out. The show premieres October 31st, 2017 on Amazon. The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. All right. Wow, what a, and when she said, when she was talking about, and I know what you guys were thinking, when she was talking about seeing somebody through the window, I immediately went to my own experience. And I know that there is something trippy going on when it comes to ghost and that phenomenon. I will never ghost hunt my own house. I would never do that. Here at the bunker, this is too new. So, well, I don't know. It's underground. It could be anything going on here. But nothing really strange. I will say this, though, and I've never talked about this. Here in the bunker, in front of me, I have this wall of monitors, right, that goes all the way around here. But behind this is another desk with computers where, guests and so forth. And that's on the other side of this. Behind that is a closet door. And I'll be sitting here in the bunker. I don't know how to explain this, but alone, right? Nobody in here. And in the closet will be this thump, right? And it happens every day. Now, I don't know, and what is in that closet is sports memorabilia from the sports show. There's basketballs in there and footballs and tennis rackets and autograph stuff, and I should give that stuff away. Rita, should we give away the all the sports memorabilia that we have here on the show? I should. Here, hold on. I'm going to do this live. This is live on the radio, so just stay with me. All right, I'm back. I had to go to the other side of the bunker. Let me get back live. Okay, so I'm live. All right. See this? This is an autographed. This is Kobe Bryant, autographed basketball right here, just sitting here in the bunker. Right, just sitting here. Should we give this? Would you guys like somebody like an autographed Kobe basketball? There it is, right there. See, right? Can you see that? See that on the camera? How cool is that? Just sitting here. I've got a LeBron James. I've got a Peyton Manning football. Anyway, all of that stuff sits in that closet. And I'll be sitting here and then, right? Now, I don't know what it is. I've gotten up and I've looked. I don't see anything moved. There's nothing. It can't move by itself, right? It's everything is just in its spot, in its position. And then I'll get this weird, right? I can't explain it. So I don't know. I don't know. There's something going on. I've never seen anything move. And that's the other thing, right? It would be different if I saw something slide and make the sound. No, it happens by itself. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying this place is haunted. I'm just saying that I get this weird thump coming from the backside of the bunker, and I'm here alone. Like there's nothing here. And it's quiet. And I get this thump. Can't explain it. There's something going on out there, my friends. All right. Did I open up the phone lines? No, I didn't. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. I got this post today that Corey Good sent me about Antarctica and NASA revealing images with, I guess it's some kind of, because they're 2 kilometers under the ice. And in this, it says, Antarctica, NASA images reveal traces of ancient human settlement underneath 2.5 kilometers of ice. Now, so I go and I look, and I'm not too sure about what's going on here, right? And they've released the images. I'll post this link up right now in Twitter. I'm just going to do this. And if you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to you in just a second. Here's the article. And I'm popping this up in Twitter. You guys go ahead and retweet this out. And it's an interesting photograph. I don't know what to make of it. Corey said to me that he thinks it's disinfo being fed out there. Why would NASA release these images? I don't know. Go and look at them for yourself. There it is. I just popped it up in Twitter. Let me know what you think. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Deb. How are you?
Hi, Deb. How are you?
I'm good, honey. Did she happen to say how old her daughter was? I think I just got excited when I might have missed it.
Whose daughter?
Paula's daughter.
Oh, Paula's daughter. No, I missed that. No, I totally missed it. It blew past me. So if you missed it and I missed it, maybe it wasn't mentioned.
Okay.
What'd you think of the show? What'd you think of the show?
Oh my goodness. It was the best show I've ever listened to. I loved Paula.
Yeah.
Because my mom was the same way. I was just really impressed. I wish that we would have had a little bit, I wish that we could have told her about, maybe doing a mass for the little boy.
Right.
If they can't do a cleansing in there.
Right.
Yeah, because she's Catholic. Paula's Catholic. So I wouldn't have felt, funny, saying maybe a mass. Because, the poor little boy, his soul is really stuck here.
Well, and that part for me, Deb, when I hear that, and part of it is because I'm a parent, right? And I think that all parents, when they hear stuff like this, when they hear EVPs of children or photographs of ghosts that are children, it affects me. And it's because I'm a parent, right? And we all want our children to be safe. Children are so vulnerable, and we want to protect them. And then you hear a story like this that obviously Paula, found out some things that were going on with Jacob. And as a parent, and I hear this, I'm freaked out, and
but Donald is still there, and that little boy is going through that every night.
Every night.
I felt so sick.
Yeah.
I was
and like I said, is there something that you can do? What can we do? So you were saying that maybe do a prayer. And she was saying that the owners of the building don't want it cleansed, right? They kind of want it to
that's
stay.
What I'm saying. They can't do anything in there. And I understood that. They respect, where they are, and they respect their property. But there's other ways, that you could release the soul.
Right.
It doesn't have to be right there.
Right. Well, Deb, what do you think is going on? I mean, why can't Jacob get to safety, and why can't he resolve, what's going on the other side in the spirit world? What do you think is going on?
Because I think that people get lost. I don't think that they could find their way. Unless you pray, as soon as somebody dies, you're supposed to say the purgatory prayers for them.
Right.
So that they do find their way. And that's why a lot of people, like the Catholics, do the last rites. And, people do different things, and it's not right or wrong.
Right.
But if they put this little boy inside an insane asylum, I doubt his parents were praying for him, Jimmy. I don't want to be too tough on him, but...
Well, yeah. Well, there is that part of it. And, I don't want to get really emotional and wrapped up into it, but we can't help ourselves, right? We're all human beings. No, you can't.
And not anybody who has, even a little bit of compassion. That's a little boy that's in a closet, stuck with a pedophile woman all free.
Yeah, and then there's
blows me away.
Yeah, and there was another part that Paula mentioned, and today, modern society, we're a little bit different today. I like to think that we are, but back then, society thought it was okay to put a 5-year-old boy into a hospital with a sanatorium with adults. That's crazy.
But,
who would do that?
But we're
right?
saying back then, though. Didn't he say that that hospital was only from the 70s?
No, that was the Pittsburgh hospital. This was at the sanatorium, I think.
The 1800 one?
Yeah, right,
okay.
right. Wow, what an amazing story.
It was just some show. I'm still fanning myself. I was like, oh, we got to get that little boy out of there.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, that was a great show. And Deb, first-time caller, thank you so much, and be safe out there, okay?
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. That's what I'm talking about. Love first-time callers on this show. Nothing gets better than a first-time caller. Yeah, that whole Jacob thing. And the Furby, You know, I'm gonna be straight with everybody. That Furby. This is, man, when did Furbies come out? When was that? Like 95, 96, 97? And I remember sitting and watching TV and alone in the living room. And that Furby was sitting on one of the end tables in the living room and just started talking to me right in the middle of the day. And I'm telling you, man. And then I swear, I'm not making this up. I remember I took the batteries out of that thing. I couldn't deal with the Furby. The Furby was freaking me out. And I took the batteries out and put it in my daughter's bedroom. And I was sitting in the living room and I heard that Furby. I did. I think it was my imagination. But I heard that Furby without batteries talk from the other room. Now, I didn't see it with my own eyes. If the Furby was talking without batteries right in front of me, I would be a changed man. I wouldn't even be on the air right now. I would be in a sanatorium. But I could have sworn I heard that Furby talk from the other room with the batteries out. And it was just so funny. My daughter, Daddy, why are the batteries out of the Furby? Because that thing is a freak doll. You know, and I'd had to put the batteries back in. Furbies. All right. Oh, man, what a great show tonight. I'm in a great mood. A meteor. This is some of the news that you know nothing about, everybody. A meteor dancing across the Texas skies was accompanied by a boom so loud that it shook houses, prompting residents fearing that an explosion had taken place to call authorities to report that the doors and windows had rattled. Footage of the event, which I watched today a few times, pretty incredible, was caught by a police officer's dash camera near the town of Weatherford just before 9 p.m. this past Sunday night. The meteor was apparently seen in other states as well, with the emergency reporting services totaling 31 calls from Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Now, AMS Operation Mike Hankey said that the remnants of the meteor, this is where it gets cool, appeared to be scattered about 50 to 100 miles southeast of Lubbock, Texas. Now, apparently, and they actually put this out on the newswire. This is where it gets crazy. They were saying that there are chunks of meteor to go out there and start collecting, that it's scattered all over the place. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's expensive, right? Isn't that stuff worth a lot, like per gram? Right? If you're out there hunting meteors, right? Meteorites, they're worth money. And I can only imagine, this is over Texas, not over water. I don't know if you've seen the dash cam video from the police car, but when you go and you watch it, this thing just puffs and blows up right off of the ground and heads straight down. Now, if I'm driving down the road and I see that, isn't that what you do? Don't you go and drive? Right. Man, so they're saying that it's scattered. Hundreds of objects are all over southeast of Lubbock, Texas. What did Karen just say here? I had to take the batteries out of my kids' Furbies, too. They do make noise and move months later without batteries. Oh, is that true? I didn't know that about Furbies. So if you take... Wait a minute. Are you saying... I want somebody to tell me this on Twitter. I'm going to look at the chat rooms, too. Is that true? You take the batteries out of Furbies and they still talk? The thump of the bunker is the haunted Furby batteries. I know, right? But is that true? Is there something to that? So I wasn't imagining things? That makes it even worse. I swear to you, I convinced myself over the years it was my imagination. I had no idea. Bright green fireball sonic boom over southeastern United States. And that is from Dennis. I bought a metal detector. This is from Rick. I bought a metal detector to go meteor hunting. State laws mostly say anything you find belongs to the state. Is that true? So what do? Do you not tell anybody that you found? Right? Look for meteor chunks. Didn't you see the blob from David? Yeah, man, that's so Deb says, yes, it's very true. You take batteries out of Furbies and they still talk. I swear I did not know that. And that freaks me out. That freaks me out. Is this part of, somebody help me out here. Is this part of the electronics of the Furby, that this is something that happens and this is not a big deal? Or is this a phenomenon that batteries taken out of a Furby and they still have been seen talking? I need clarification here. And is this a defect? Or is there an internal battery inside of the Furby? Well, there probably would be. There would be a battery in there to store the memory of the things that you teach a Furby. That's interesting. I think I'm going to actually look into this. I'll have some more information on tomorrow night's show. That's pretty cool. Well, check this out. Learn something every day. Off the coast of Sicily, near the city of Gela, is a new expedition to a 2,600-year-old shipwreck, and it has returned with 47 lumps, are you ready, of orichalcum, right? A rare alloy said to be smelted on Atlantis. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of orichalcum. It's orichalcum. And I've read about it over the years, right? And when I started to see these reports come in, I remember reading about it about 2 years ago. And I kind of let it go, right? But now they've got another 47 lumps of it. The shipwreck dates to 600 BC. It was previously explored back in 2015. I talked about it on this show, when underwater archaeologists found 39 ingots of the metal. Now, this trip, the current one, also yielded a jar and 2 Corinthian helmets. Now, orichalcum was supposed to be a shiny alloy, much like brass. It's known from ancient texts, like Plato, which described it as a rare metal that was mined at Atlantis. Plato described a temple to Poseidon that had an entire pillar of this metal, of this alloy. LucasArts, you may remember in the video game Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, they actually had this featured in the game. So, in 2015, after this shipwreck was discovered, Sicilian officials started describing the metal found there by the same name. The ingots were made from zinc, charcoal, and copper. They actually had it tested, and that's what was reported in the media at that time. Tradition had it that orichalcum was made of copper, gold, and silver. The metal found by the shipwreck, though, matched ancient descriptions of orichalcum, which was supposed to have a red tone to it. It's very interesting. I saw a couple of pictures of it today, and then one of the pictures that I did see, I went and did a quick search on Google of the picture, and it turned out that wasn't it. That was a fake picture. So I don't know what to make of the media. The ingots have been found. It has been tested, and it is pretty interesting. But when you go to 600 BC, no matter what this alloy is, it is pretty crazy. But could it have come from Atlantis? So we'll find out. And as this, it took 2 years for me to come back to this story. But here we are now. All right, so we'll find out. New satellite radar data reveals that excess pumping of groundwater here in Central California and the prolonged drought that we have had has caused the state of California to sink by as much as 2 feet in the last 2 years. Yes. California's Department of Water Resources, the DWR, commissioned NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab to collect and analyze data using airborne and satellite radar. An initial report of their findings was released in August 2015 using sensor readings between 2006 and 2015. The current report analysis released today, says that we have been sinking here as much as 2 feet per year. Now, I'm quoting directly from the report. Several trouble spots identified continue to subside at rates as high as 2 feet, 0.6 meters a year. This is directly from the report. Significant subsidence was measured in 2 subsidence bowls located near the towns of Chowchilla, south of Merced, Corcoran, north of Bakersfield. These bowls cover hundreds of square miles and continue to grow wider and deeper between May of 2015 and September 2016. These reports and those findings were released earlier today. That is 2 feet, not 2 inches, 2 feet per year. Think about that. The infrastructure. Think about the pipes under the ground, the electricity, the internet connections, everything else that is. What if there's an oil pipeline? What about water? What about sewage? And this is shifting 2 feet per year? We've got some issues. And these areas, again, cover hundreds of square miles. Think about that. That's going to be some breaking news here very soon. Well, a Google Chrome scam that could infect your computer with malware continues to pose threats to users, and this has now been released officially again for the second time in 2 weeks by cybersecurity experts. Last month, security company Proofpoint warned that hackers can inject script into poorly protected web pages. The script, which targets Chrome browsers in Windows, rewrites the compromised website on the victim's browser to make the page unreadable and creates a fake issue for the user to resolve. Then you get a pop-up which contains the message, the Heffler text. Okay? Listen to me. The Heffler text font wasn't found, and it urges users to download an update for their computers. The update, however, is actually more malware. The malware campaign began back on December 10th, 2016, and it is a form of ad fraud malware known as FleerCivet. All right, now just remember, the Heffler text font wasn't found. There you go. All right, O.J. Simpson. Yeah, he's back in the news. O.J. Simpson is up for parole in 2017. He has served 9 years of a 33-year sentence. 4 out of 7 of the parole board have to vote for his release. And if released, he's going to get his NFL pension back, which is worth about $2.7 million. Now, there is a good chance he's going to get paroled. I'm not saying he is, but he's been pretty clean in prison. He stayed away from gangs. He's had no fights, no interaction with guards. And the good news is, for the parole board, he hasn't killed anybody in over 20 years. There you go. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Gavin Kelly, Paula Purcell, Phantasmic Ghost Hunters for coming in tonight. Absolutely amazing show. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady Bidell. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldridge. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Tomorrow night, Fader Night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom, followed by Open Lines. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.